It's August 4th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a shipwreck with a lone passenger survivor, a tiny sea creature that lived for decades, and a man who escaped a deadly wave by refusing to let go. Let's begin. On August 4th, 1845, before sunrise, the British ship Caddo Rockaway was fighting through a violent gale in the Bass Strait. It carried 409 people, most of them British and Irish families who had spent more than 3 months sailing towards a new life in Melbourne. At approximately 4:30 in the morning, the storm drove the ship onto jagged rocks beside King Island. The shore was less than 100 meters away, but the sea between them had become impossible to cross. Towering waves swept people from the deck, while others drowned as freezing water flooded the cabins. For more than a day, survivors clung to the breaking wreck. Then, the hull split apart. Only 9 people reached the island alive, 8 crewmen and 1 passenger, Solomon Brown. He had boarded with his wife and 4 daughters, and every one of them was gone. The castaways were found by a local sealer, but remained stranded for 5 weeks before a rescue cutter finally arrived. It remains Australia's worst maritime disaster. A haunting reminder that sometimes safety can be close enough to be seen, but still impossible to reach. On August 4th, 1887, one of Scotland's strangest celebrities died quietly inside a glass jar. She was a beetlet sea anemone known simply as Granny. Nearly 59 years earlier, naturalist Sir John Dale had collected the tiny creature from the rocky shore of North Berwick. He brought her home, expecting to study her for a short time. Instead, Granny refused to die. Year after year, she remained inside the jar as generations of human caretakers grew old and passed away around her. She was handed from one naturalist to another, eventually outliving the man who had first removed her from the sea. Granny produced several hundred offspring during her captivity, leaving naturalists puzzled by her remarkable reproductive life. When she finally died, she was believed to be approximately 66 years old. Her death remained unannounced for more than 2 months. Then, on October 11th, the Scotsman published a lengthy formal obituary, joking that the news had been withheld, apparently for state reasons. For nearly 6 decades, Granny had watched the Victorian world change from inside a jar, and when she disappeared, even a newspaper mourned her. On August 4th, 1946, at 1:51 in the afternoon, the ground beneath the Dominican Republic suddenly began to convulse. A massive magnitude 8.1 earthquake had struck, and the shaking was only the beginning. Offshore, the earthquake disturbed the ocean and sent enormous waves racing towards the northern coastline. At Playa Rincon, the water surged inland at a terrifying force, swallowing approximately 700 meters of island. One man saw the wave coming and realized there was nowhere left to run. In desperation, he climbed an almond tree and pulled himself toward its highest branches. The tsunami tore across the ground beneath him, carrying debris and nearly destroying everything in its path. Yet somehow the trees remained standing. The man held on, and almost 70 years later, researchers from Georgia Tech returned to the coastline to interview the elderly survivors. The man led them back to the place where he had cheated death. Using his memory and other eyewitness accounts, scientists reconstructed the waves in several locations. Long after the water disappeared, the almond tree remained part of the evidence and part of one survivor's terrifying memory. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.